My name is Silas Siakor. I work for Friends of the Earth Liberia. I do believe that my own humble beginnings has a big part to play in all of this because I grew up in a community that was very severely impacted by resource extraction back in the 80s. The expansion of the first rubber company in Liberia, the Firestone Rubber Plantation, and all of this coming together with corruption in government and the negative consequences it has on the people's welfare and people's livelihoods. All of this drove me in the direction of actually standing up for social justice, environmental justice. So if you like, it is a combination, or it is at that intersection between environmental sustainability, social justice, pushing for community rights where I work. So sometimes I present myself as a human rights defender. In other instances, I present myself as an environmental defender because all of them work hand in hand. As a result of our work, we have had instances in which logging interests, different operators in the logging sector, have issued threats of violence against members of our staff, against the organization. We have had instances in which government officials have said very negative, scandalous things about the organization, with the intent of inviting public anger to channel that towards the organization. But as a result of our work with communities, we have gained a fair degree of community trust and confidence, to the extent that we do not take these threats do not bother us in many ways. Our main focus is to ensure that communities benefit from resources that are extracted on their customary land, and that resource extraction is done in an environmentally sustainable manner, and that the economic benefits are equally shared with communities. In 2014, Liberia experienced its first Ebola outbreak. And by July 2014, the situation was reaching a crisis point. In September, the infection rate has intensified. We were seeing about 300 infections every other week, and we were seeing hundreds of deaths every other week. Therefore, as an organization, and with support from our international partners, we were able to organize the community awareness and support team. And what we did was to mobilize resources to go out into remote parts of the country to provide hygiene supplies to communities, create awareness about how the virus spread, and through that help communities to defend themselves, to protect themselves against the rapid spread of the virus. Since 2013, we have been supporting one of the communities affected by the equatorial palm oil plantation expansion. In this case, the Joban clan in Grand Bassa County. We did launch a complaint with the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil. We are at a point where we are now engaged in direct conversation with the company. Our expectation is that in the next couple of months, the company will finally accept that the communities do not want the plantation on their land, and that they will agree to work with us to map out the community's land and exclude it from their plantation. It is not possible to operate large-scale palm oil plantations in a country like Liberia anywhere near sustainability. That is not possible. By its very nature, it is very destructive. It destroys livelihoods. It displaces communities. It leaves a very large negative environmental footprint. And all of that coming together, there is no way that large-scale palm oil plantation can be sustainable. Definitely not in a situation such as in Liberia. What we are saying in Liberia is that community rights to land, community ownership, community tenure, once recognized by the state, once formalized and protected, does provide the incentives that communities need to manage their land-based resources in a much more sustainable manner. Therefore, we believe that that is the route to go. We believe that northern consumption or overconsumption in the north is a major part of the development challenges that we face in the south. We believe that it is time that northern countries, consumers in the north, need to begin exploring alternative avenues for accessing raw materials that they need to feed their consumption in the north. Because at the moment, that is one of the major drivers for environmental degradation in the South, over exploitation of resources in the South, and of course the related human rights abuses that we are seeing. I believe what the North and the South could do in a much more collaborative manner is that the northern countries begin to look for ways that are much more sustainable, sustainable patterns of consumption. For example, biofuel or fuel, fossil fuel has been a major engine of driver of growth in the North. And they begin to find alternative sources of energy so that they are not relying on countries in Africa, for example, which is now a new frontier for oil exploitation. The same goes for forest-based resources such as timber. The same goes for mineral resources such as iron ore. We believe that Friends of the Earth, UK, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland could support campaigns, especially our campaigns around resistance to oil palm plantation expansion. In this particular case, supporting our work around the equatorial palm oil will be very, very important by groups in the UK calling on equatorial palm oil because it is a UK registered company to respect the rights, the determination of communities in Joburg that they do not wish to have oil palm plantation on their land. That would be a really welcome development.